Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin is still perfectly playing out the short-term bullish divergence, continuing to repeat history right now, which means we've just officially liquidated all of those short positions, wiping out that area of liquidity over the last one day. But we now have a new area of liquidity building in the Bitcoin liquidation heat map that we need to pay attention to, while the price of Ethereum is now starting to struggle and possibly reject from my exact level of resistance on the price chart, while the price of XRP is on its way towards the next important area of resistance. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the weekly Bitcoin price chart, and the super trend indicator is still sitting in the green, indicating a larger bull market. But on this weekly Bitcoin price chart, we still have that massive bearish divergence to watch out for, which is technically still active. It's still influencing the price of Bitcoin, which means overall, if we're talking about a period of weeks or months, still expect a lot of weakness, lacking bullish momentum on the larger timeframes, which essentially is most likely going to result in, at best, a choppy sideways price range, consolidating sideways, but quite possibly a bit more of a pullback if we're talking about the next multiple weeks or months. That sort of time frame, once again, not a short-term signal. And if we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin price chart, right now the price of Bitcoin is continuing to perfectly bounce from my exact area of support on the price chart, sitting in between around 99,000 to 100,000. So continue to expect a lot of support at give or take $100,000 per Bitcoin. And now that we're continuing this bounce, we're now potentially starting to test some resistance here. First of all, like I've been saying recently here on the channel, I would expect some resistance at roughly around 106,000, really around 106 to 107,000. Expect resistance around there, which means it's possible the price could start to struggle in that area on the price chart. But if we continue a further bullish move in the short term, the next major point of resistance is sitting at around 110.5k to 111,000. And as we potentially continue this shorter term bounce, we also have to be aware of the possible risk of forming a much larger head and shoulders pattern, which would be a massive bearish price pattern on the price chart. But obviously, as I've recorded this video, that's not currently confirmed. We're still a long way from even completing the formation phase, let alone confirming the pattern, because in order to actually confirm that possible massive head and shoulders pattern, a bearish price pattern, we would first need to see a further bounce in the immediate short term and then fail to get back above roughly 110k, give or take, see a rejection, come back down towards around 100,000 and then break below that area. Only in that situation would confirm a massive head and shoulders pattern, but something to watch out for in case we continue a bit of a bounce but struggle to go much higher beyond 110 to 111,000. But with that being said, if we're taking a look at the shorter term here on the 6-hour Bitcoin price chart, obviously over the last few days or so, over the last 3 days, the price of Bitcoin has been perfectly playing out this shorter term bullish divergence as predicted. Obviously, every day over the last 3 days now, in my last 2 to 3 videos, I've been talking about how we're most likely going to see either a slight bullish relief or maybe a bit of choppy sideways price action here and there. Basically, something similar to what we saw back here. And so far, that's exactly playing out once again. Obviously, not exactly the same as what we saw back here, but very, very similar price action is ultimately what was expected. And considering the fact that we've not yet confirmed an invalidation signal to actually invalidate this bullish divergence, it is possible this could continue to play out a little longer. But over the next few days, don't rely as much on the bullish divergence any longer compared to, for example, a couple of days ago. Once again, it's still currently active, so it could still continue to play out maybe over the next 1 or 2 days. But let's just say in 3 days from now or a week from now, don't put too much reliance on this bullish divergence at that stage in the market. And once again, it's important to understand where we have resistance along the way towards the upside, where the price could possibly struggle at or reject from. Like I've been saying here on the channel, we expect a decent amount of resistance at give or take 106,000, slightly above 106,000, which is exactly where the price is starting to struggle at in the immediate short term. But if the price can break out beyond 106 to 107,000, which is an area of resistance here based on previous support flipping into new resistance, if we break out above that area, in that situation would likely see a move up towards roughly 111,000. And then once again, as I said earlier, expect a lot of resistance at give or take 111,000. And so overall, those are my expectations in the immediate short term for the price of Bitcoin. Basically the same sort of price action that we've seen over the last few days is likely going to continue a little longer, maybe over the next just a couple of days, but be aware of those points of resistance, the obstacles along the way towards the upside. And of course, the outlook on the larger timeframes has not really changed all that much over the last few days, despite the short-term bullish relief, which is still currently playing out on the smaller timeframes. And so with all of that being said, what is my trading strategy? How do I plan to make profits from this Bitcoin move happening right now? And well, right now I'm still in the same trading strategy that I've been talking about every day for over 3 weeks now. For almost a month now on the channel, I've been sharing this exact trading strategy, which is continuing to pull in passive profits right now. And in case you're new to this channel, this trading strategy is a futures grid bot trading strategy in a long position direction. So basically betting on some form of bullish price action happening, but it doesn't necessarily have to happen right this moment. For example, it's possible we could see a dump and then bullish price action, and this trading strategy can still be profitable in that scenario. And of course, if we just see an immediate bounce in the price, the trading strategy is also profitable in that scenario. And so basically the only scenario where this trading strategy will lose money is if we pretty much just go straight towards the downside without seeing any sort of decent bounce back towards the upside along the way. So obviously right now the price of Bitcoin as of recording this video is actually below my entry price, believe it or not. My entry price was at pretty much exactly 106,000, just a few dollars below $106,000 per Bitcoin. And as of recording this video, we're close to $1,000 below my entry price, which is why we have this slight unrealized loss in this trade right here. But we have the grid profits over here, the realized profits that help to offset the unrealized loss. And so obviously in a regular long position, if you were to long Bitcoin at 106,000 and the price is sitting at 105,000, of course, the entire trade would indeed be sitting in a slight loss in that scenario. But because this is a grid bot trading strategy, even if we're below the entry price in a long position grid bot, it is still profitable. It is still making money, which is the benefit of this trading strategy. Even if we see a major dump and then a bounce from a lower price, this trading strategy can still make money in that scenario, because basically we have a bunch of buy and sell orders, a grid of orders. This is a grid bot trading strategy. So if we see a dump towards the downside, it buys Bitcoin at lower prices. And then because it's a trading bot, it automatically places new orders. So the moment we see a dump, for example, it has orders slightly above the price, sell orders slightly above the price. So the moment we see any little bounce back towards the upside, it automatically takes profit, basically secures these grid profits right here to essentially sell the lower bought Bitcoin from the lower prices and sell that at higher prices. So basically it automatically buys low and sells high very passively, and does it no matter what the price really does. And so that is my trading strategy. That is how I'm planning to make profits from this next Bitcoin move happening very soon. And if you want to copy my exact trading strategy, as always, not financial advice, no guarantees, but if you want to copy this trading strategy exactly like what I'm doing right now, of course, I'll leave a link below this video. In fact, the second link below this video will take you to this page right here where you can copy my exact trading strategy. If you want to, you can see all of the information about the trade. You can see where I entered the trade, the current price of Bitcoin, the current unrealized profit or loss, the actual grid profits right here, annualized, and of course exactly how long it's been running for, 24 days as recording this video. And so you can copy this trading strategy with a single click of a button using that second link below this video. But because it's set up over on my Pinex account, of course you'll need a Pinex account in order to copy this trading strategy if you want to. So I'll make sure to leave a link to Pinex. In fact, the first link below this video will take you to this Pinex page right here where you can claim a bunch of bonuses as well. You might as well take advantage of this if you're going to be trading crypto anyway. For example, if you make an account using the link below the video, complete KYC, you get a 50 USDT bonus on your account. And there's also deposit bonuses. If you deposit just 100 USDT, you get a 100 USDT bonus on your account. If you deposit 10,000, you get a $1,000 bonus on your Pinex account. So once again, if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well take advantage of this using that first link below the video. But once again, only using that first link below the video. Unfortunately, if you don't use that link, you can't claim any of these bonuses here. And also, if you don't use the link below the video to make your account, unfortunately, this copy button simply will not work. You won't be able to copy this trading strategy if you don't use the link below the video. So once again, that's just a quick update on my trading strategy for the price of Bitcoin, sharing with you completely for free, fully transparently, how I'm making profits in this market. So hopefully you can be making some easy profits as well. And if we're taking a quick look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, we can see that over the last one day, the price of Bitcoin has now wiped out this area of liquidity that was building at roughly $105 105,000. And obviously, this is exactly what I said was extremely likely over the last few days when the price was down here, these lower prices over the last few days. I said it's extremely likely, as always, no guarantees, but extremely likely we're going to move towards the upside to wipe out that liquidity and see a bit of a price squeeze, a bit of a short squeeze in the short term, liquidating some short positions and seeing a little push higher in the short term beyond 105,000. That's exactly what I said over the last few days and has now played out as predicted. And so now that that has happened, obviously we've already wiped out that liquidity. That liquidity is gone, but we now have a new area of liquidity building on the Bitcoin liquidation heat map that we need to pay attention to, which is sitting at roughly around just above 107,000, around 107.2k to 107.4k. And now obviously we also have that area of liquidity to the downside as well at roughly 98,500. But keep in mind, we do have an active bullish divergence, technically still active, still currently playing out. And also keep in mind, we'll likely find support before even hitting that lower area of liquidity down here. So for example, would likely now find a lot of support at roughly 104,000 based on previous resistance here, flipping into new support, and also more support at 101.5k. And of course, a lot of support in between 99,000 to 100,000. So keep that in mind. Overall, it is very likely that sometime soon in the next few days or so, we could possibly see another little push higher to wipe out this liquidity at just above 107,000, which is sitting only just here on the price chart. That is quite likely in the coming days. And if you want to trade that move in the price of Bitcoin on a no KYC exchange, you could also take advantage of a bunch of other bonuses using the third link below the video. The third link below the video will take you to this 2bit page right here, where you could take advantage of some major bonuses just by depositing and trading crypto. So for example, just by depositing and trading, you can claim up to 10,000 USDT in trial fund bonuses and 8,000 USDT in actual withdrawable stablecoins just by depositing and trading crypto. So like I said, if you're going to be doing it anyway, you might as well take advantage of these bonuses. And on top of that, without making any deposits or any trades, just by simply making an account using the third link below the video, the link to 2bit, you can get a $30 sign up bonus and 1 month free VIP3 upgrade. So basically very cheap trading fees over on 2bit and essentially free money from the exchange just by simply making an account. It takes 30 seconds to do this using that third link below the video. But unfortunately, if you don't use that link, you can't claim any of these bonuses here. And once again, in case you're wondering, 2bit is indeed a no KYC exchange. But with that being said, taking a quick look at the Bitcoin dominance on the daily time frame, and honestly, in the immediate short term, the Bitcoin dominance is looking relatively neutral because we've just seen a bit of a rejection from this resistance, which in the immediate short term, while that was happening, was obviously a bit of a bearish signal. But we've also still got this bullish divergence kind of influencing the Bitcoin dominance as we've been seeing over the last 1 month with this shorter term bullish relief. And so honestly, what I expect over the next few days or so for the Bitcoin dominance just in the short term here is most likely relatively neutral price action. I don't really expect a massive bullish or bearish move in the Bitcoin dominance, at least for the next few days, is what I ultimately expect here. And if we're taking a look at Ethereum on the daily time frame, right now the price of ETH is starting to perfectly struggle and possibly reject from my exact level of resistance that I've been warning about here on the channel. In fact, to pretty much the nearest cent, not even the nearest dollar, but the nearest cent, the price is perfectly rejecting from my exact level after we perfectly bounced from my exact level. So first of all, this level of resistance is sitting at around 3660, 3650. So like I've been warning about, expect resistance around there on the price chart, which is exactly where we just saw a short-term rejection from. And of course, when it comes to support, expect a lot of support at around 3050, which is pretty much exactly where the price bounced from at this bottom right here. And so ultimately continue to expect support at this level and resistance at this level. But if we see a further breakout beyond around 3660, ideally breaking out above 3.7k as a key area of resistance, in that situation, of course, we'll likely see a move up towards these highs right here as another major point of resistance to watch out for at approximately 4250. So in between 4.2k to 4.3k is the next price target towards the upside if we first confirm a breakout ideally above 3.7k and hold above that level. And if we're taking a look at this daily Ethereum price chart, we can see that over the last one day, we've now officially confirmed a daily candle close in the price of ETH back above this short-term area of resistance here, which near the lows was holding down the price for around half a week or so, and that was sitting in between around 33.50 to 34.50, so roughly 3.4k give or take, and I'd now expect support in that area. So if we were to see a little bit of a shorter term pullback, let's just say if we see a slight little further rejection from that resistance, expect a lot of support now in that area in between 33.50 to 34.50, and obviously also more support at around 30.50 at this low right here. And so the moment we started to break out above this resistance at around 34.50, obviously the price continued to play out the oversold signal as expected in the form of a short-term bullish relief exactly towards the next resistance, which is ultimately what we should be expecting here, because right now we're trying to play out a oversold signal, obviously like what we saw last time. For example, the last couple of times we got close to oversold in the daily Ethereum RSI, we did see a bit of a bullish relief following over the next few days, over the next week or so at the very least. And so the price action that we've seen over the last few days is ultimately what we were expecting here on the channel, just a shorter term bullish relief in the short term, once again playing out this oversold signal. But we have to be aware of those points of resistance along the way, which are kind of like obstacles for the price, can cause the price to struggle a little bit in the short term, so keep that in mind. But the moment we break out past one of those obstacles, the moment we break out above resistance, expect the continuation of that signal to keep playing out in the short term up until the next obstacle towards the next resistance, which is exactly what has been playing out. The moment we broke out above around 34.50, we moved exactly towards my next level right here to the nearest dollar. And then the moment we break out above this level, expect to move up towards around roughly 4.2k as the next major target. And with that being said, if we're taking a look at the price of Solana on the 2-day time frame, right now the price of Solana is playing out something similar. Obviously, a perfect bounce from this exact area of support here, sitting in between 143 to 147. The moment we entered into my area of support, we perfectly bounced there, and we're now starting to retest a point of resistance we need to watch out for at approximately $170. And so obviously continue to expect, at least in the short term, a little bit of struggle, possible rejections from around 170 give or take. But if we break out above 170 with a candle close above that level and actually hold above that area on the price chart, in that situation, we could likely see a continued move in the short term up towards the next area of resistance, sitting in between around 190 to 200. And overall, the larger price structure has not really changed over the last one day. But once again, if the rest of the crypto market's playing out a bit of a bullish relief in the shorter term, expect something very similar for Solana and a lot of these major altcoins in the short term. And if we're taking a look at the price of XRP on the weekly time frame, right now the price of XRP is still playing out this much larger bearish divergence. This bearish divergence on the weekly time frame is still indeed active. It's still influencing the price of XRP on the larger time frames. As always, understand the difference between the different time frames. Yes, we could see a shorter term bullish relief that could last for even a week or two, like what we saw around early September. We saw 2 green weekly candles right here. So yes, that was a decent bullish relief in the short term, but that was during this larger correction while we were playing out the much larger bearish divergence. So understand the difference between the different time frames, at least for now on the weekly time frame. This is still the current situation. It's not yet changed. And if we're taking a look at the daily time frame, looking at the somewhat shorter term for the price of XRP, of course, as I've been saying every day for close to a week now, for around 5 days, give or take, we have an active bullish divergence currently playing out on the daily XRP price chart. And obviously over the last few days, the price was struggling to get above this important area, which was acting as strong resistance in the short term, sitting in between around $2.30 to $2.40. We saw a lot of struggle in that area, causing some choppy sideways price action, with the price trying to play out the bullish divergence, but struggling at resistance. But now that we've seen a breakout above $2.40, like I've been saying over the last few days, once we finally break out above this resistance, expect the bullish divergence to ultimately just continue to play out in the form of a bullish relief up towards the next major area of resistance, which is at roughly around $2.60. Really in between $2.60 to $2.70 is the next major area of resistance to watch out for. We could likely struggle a lot in that area, possibly reject from close to that area, so keep that in mind. But right now, that is the next major price target and has been the next major price target here on this channel. As I've been saying over the last few days, the moment we break out above 240, expect to move up closer towards around 260. So right now, we're on our way towards possibly doing that. And if we're taking a look at the price of Chainlink on the daily time frame, it's a similar situation for Chainlink as what I just said for XRP. Technically, the larger situation, the slightly longer term situation on the daily time frame is still a bearish trend. We're still technically forming lower highs and lower lows, but the shorter term situation, talking about the next few days, maybe the next week or so, is indeed looking more bullish than bearish right now. We're still playing out the bullish divergence in the form of a bullish relief, one of the most common outcomes from a bullish divergence. And now that we've just started to break out above this short-term area of resistance here, which was sitting in between around 1520 to 1570, now that we're breaking out above that area, and especially if we now hold above $15.70, in that situation, expect a continued bullish relief in the short term up towards the next points of resistance. The next immediate point of resistance is at around $16.60 approximately, which so far is exactly where the price started to struggle at and possibly see a slight little rejection from as expected. But if we see a breakout beyond 1660, in that situation, expect more resistance at roughly 1750. And if we break out past that point, expect to move in between around $19 to $20 as a major area of resistance. But overall, it is quite likely that just in the shorter term, for the next few days, the next week, that sort of time frame, expect a little bit more of a bullish relief or just at least some sort of break from the bearish trend, kind of like what we saw just here, for example, in the short term is very likely, especially if Bitcoin and other major altcoins continue this same sort of price action, which is also still quite likely in the short term for the next few days. And once again, if you want to trade any of these moves in the price of any crypto, check out the links below the video to these exchanges. If you want to claim the massive bonuses that are only available using those links, you might as well take advantage of that if you're going to be trading crypto anyway. And if you want to actually know how you can take these sort of trades to easily profit in the market, no matter what the price is doing, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.